The Belt and Road Initiative aims to build infrastructure projects mainly connecting Asia with Europe and Africa. Chris Torrens is senior partner at Control Risks, a global risk and strategic consulting firm. He explains what the deals reached during the forum could mean for nations weighing the potential economic benefits.
Well, I think the number of the deals, the actual amount is good, and that's significant. But I think the stronger message coming out of Beijing, and something that China can be pretty happy with, is the fact that President Xi Jinping and the overall conference was able to address some of the concerns that have been popping up increasingly in the Western media, which have criticized really the BRI. So the BRI, I think, has been accused of debt diplomacy and of having a negative environmental impact on some projects overseas. And I think the message coming out from President Xi Jinping was all about transparency. It was all around fiscal sustainability. And I think that's helped to reframe BRI. It's a kind of BRI 2.0, if you will. And that will be, I think, a reassurance to host nations. But it also helps to portray BRI in a more positive light globally.
And Chris, what do you consider as some of the other takeaways from this forum that struck you?
I think one of the other interesting points was that President Vladimir Putin was there, the Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte was there, and I think particularly with Prime Minister Conte being there, it's a reminder that China's ongoing efforts to grow the relationship with Europe are beginning to bear fruit, because Italy is the first developed nation to sign up to the BRI, to sign a memorandum of understanding supporting the BRI. And I think that's a significant step, because other EU members such as Germany, France, the UK have resisted doing that. And I think there is concern in Europe about Chinese investment coming into the bloc, although actually most of that investment from China has gone into Germany and France. So for Italy to express strong support for the BRI, that sends a message to the rest of Europe that maybe other European countries should get on board as well. And it also sends a message to the US, which has been calling China's efforts in Europe especially as predatory, so suggesting that a lot of the BRI investment has a geostrategic context to it, rather than being one of trying to share development and encourage and stimulate economic growth in these countries through the building of infrastructure.
Let's turn to another topic. One of the agreements signed was on green development. How might this deal help address some of that criticism that the Belt and Road Initiative does not address environmental concerns?
Well, I think it's absolutely key. I think around $30 billion of BRI investment to date has gone towards power projects which are in coal-fired power plants. So the accusation that's been growing towards China is that it's exporting polluting industries while focusing on renewables and obviously becoming a world leader in some areas such as solar and wind back at home. And so what President Xi Jinping was doing was try to reframe that part of the BRI initiative by focusing on green investment principles. And in fact, it was something that was picked up by Christine Lagarde, the head of the International Monetary Fund, in her speech earlier this week, saying that the BRI projects need to be sustainable, and she meant fiscally, but also from an environmental perspective as well. So I think that's a very strong message to go out to the world and to BRI countries that are looking to receive much of this investment.
Chris Torrens with Control Risks, thanks so much for your perspective.